Hello, everybody. My name is Vincent, and welcome to my court case presentation. This assignment is for Health Informatics Class 170, titled Legal Aspects in Healthcare. Today, I will give a narrative report on the case of Schiff versus Liberty Mutual. Case Overview. This case looks at what an insurer must do to meet the reasonable investigation standard and the requirement to pay all reasonable and necessary medical expenses under the Personal Injury Protection Statutes, accompanying regulations, and the Washington Consumer Protection Act. Case Analysis. This case is formally titled Schiff, MD, PhD versus Liberty Mutual Fire Insurance Company and resides under the Supreme Court of Washington State. It is a civil insurance litigation or breach of contract and bad faith case. Docket number 101576-3 and was decided on February 15, 2024. Next, I will go over the identifying roles and parties involved. The judge in this case is Honorable John Rule, who served as the presiding judge in the King County Superior Court, where this case was appealed. The plaintiff is Dr. Stan Schiff, on behalf of himself and a class of similar situated providers. The defendant is the Liberty Mutual Fire Insurance Company, but we will refer to them as Liberty Mutual from here on out. Also, listed are the names of the attorneys for the respondent and the defendant. Here I lay out a train of events to get a better understanding on what led to the lawsuit. First, the plaintiff, Dr. Schiff, was involved in an auto accident and sustains injuries. He then undergoes medical treatment and submits medical bills to Liberty Mutual requesting a claim for insurance payment under the Personal Injury Protection Benefit. Liberty Mutual rejects the claim and denies coverage on the basis of their own examination. This leads the plaintiff to file a suit for alleged breach of contract and bad faith for incomplete investigation and all reasonable and necessary medical expenses covered. Here are some facts and main issues of the case. The core dispute of this case is whether the insurer failed to conduct a reasonable investigation and improperly denied reasonable and necessary medical expenses under the Personal Injury Protection coverage. The plaintiff also claimed that the insurance company's practice of reducing medical bills to an 80th percentile cap based on a computer-generated calculation violated the Consumer Protection Act. The insurance company also used an independent medical examination to claim the doctor's injuries weren't real or serious enough. The plaintiff accuses the insurer of ignoring the medical evidence provided by his own treatment physician in favor of a biased or incomplete review. Dr. Schiff alleged that Liberty Mutual acted in bad faith by failing to conduct a fair and thorough investigation in efforts to save money. Here I showcase the procedural history of this case. It is initiated by the plaintiff's class action suit. The defendant then files an answer or notice of removal establishing federal jurisdiction. The court then orders a scheduling order and document production for both parties to exchange claim files, which are medical property records and internal adjuster notes. This is also where the reasonable investigation standards were tested. The defendant then motions for a summary judgment, arguing that they acted reasonably as a matter of law. The plaintiff files an opposition, arguing a failure to conduct a reasonable investigation and that the denial of claim was made in bad faith, leading the court to issue an order on motion and make final judgments. This motion for summary judgment made by the defendant was ruled denied, meaning the case was allowed to proceed to trial rather than being dismissed. The evidence in this case relies on claims files as the primary evidence exhibits. These files consist of medical property records and internal adjuster notes. The court uses best evidence rule, which requires that the original medical records or insurance policies be produced to prove their content, rather than relying on oral summaries. Hearsay of medical records and adjuster reports are admitted under the business record exemption, which allows the court to use them as evidence without the original author needing to testify in court. Additionally, the court takes judicial notice of the existence of the Washington Administrative Code and the Revised Code of Washington as a governing law in this case. Health information and privacy in this case is maintained by the court under HIPAA compliance, with strict adherence to federal privacy standards regarding the plaintiff's medical history. It is also under RCW 70.02, Washington's Medical Records, Healthcare Information Access and Disclosure Statute. Furthermore, the court often issues a qualified protective order. This allows the insurer to access the plaintiff's health information for the purpose of the litigation while ensuring the information is not disclosed to the public. Some applicable Washington state statutes are as follows. RCW 48.22.005 defines personal injury protection and the scope of reasonable and necessary medical expenses. RCW 48.01.030 is the good faith mandate, and this establishes that the business of insurance is one affected by the public interest, requiring all persons to be actuated by good faith. WAC 284-30-330 lists specific unfair methods of competition and unfair or deceptive acts or practices, such as failing to acknowledge pertinent communications or failing to adopt reasonable standards for prompt investigation. And RCW 19.86 is the Consumer Protection Act, provides the mechanism for the plaintiff to seek damages if the insurer's conduct is found to be unfair or deceptive act in trade or commerce. The broader impact this case has are many. First, it reinforces that the insurers cannot cherry-pick medical evidence to justify cost-cutting denials. It also provides accountability by validating the use of the Consumer Protection Act to hold insurers liable for unfair claims handling practices. Lastly, its precedence strengthens the standard for reasonable investigation, ensuring that the policyholder has a legal pathway to challenge biased or incomplete insurance reviews. In conclusion, the court determined that Liberty Mutual's denial of personal injury protection benefits presented genuine issues of material fact, ruling that the case must proceed to a jury trial to decide if the insurer's investigation was legally reasonable or constituted for bad faith. Question: as the jury, do you believe the Liberty Mutual's investigation was reasonable, or do you think the denial of Dr. Schiff's claim was made in bad faith? Let me know in the comments. That's my report. Thanks for listening. Bye.